Hi, my name is Felipe Gerard, and I would like to present the work entitled Between Tactics and Dominant Strategies, Market Resistance in Alternative Socio-Economic Circuits, that I wrote with Professors Veronica Penhalose and Ana Augusta Ferreira de Freitas from the State University of Ceará. So this work starts from the field and exploring some new economic models present in current societies. We could find out that there are aspects that could not be well established by traditional economic theory. So in order to understand how markets operate and how consumers behave, we use different perspectives, conceptual perspectives. In this case, we use the duality of market practice proposed by Desserteau. And this theory proposed two poles, the dominant strategies and the resistance tactics. And dominant strategies operates through mass consumptions, to imposition of specific ways of being the world, and markets can also capitalize practice and declare the victory of time over place. On the other hand, resistance tactics are operated by consumers, and they flourish in everyday practice. They do not impose a specific way of being the world, but different ways of being, and consumers cannot capitalize their practice, and there is uncertainty of place over time. We also use a specific thesis of Desserteau to establish our gap, and this thesis proposed that there is a triumph of resistance tactics in the everyday context of the common people over the market strategies. But this proposition raises also some questions. Can resistance tactics be able to transcend the dominant order in context marked by economic practice? This is an important question that we also would like to answer in this research. So the objective of this research is to analyze how resistance tactics and market strategies are organized in a collaborative consumption model. And as a specific objective, we aim to analyze the formation of resistance tactics, to identify attributes and aspects shared by them, and to draw parallels and difference between resistance and dominant strategies in different socioeconomic models. Looking more deeply at the duality of market practice, we can see the definitions of dominant strategies and resistance tactics and how they are really different. The dominant strategies definition is the calculus of force relationship, which becomes possible when a subject of will and power can be isolated from an environment. On the other hand, resistance tactics definition is a calculus which cannot count on a proper, nor does on a broader line distinguishing the other as an invisible totality. The place of a tactic belongs to the other. We can also see the difference between dominant strategies and resistance practice when we list the main aspects related to each one. So among the many others present in the dominant strategies, Desserteau propose the economic order as the most important one. Dominant strategies can also operate through own proper, and they can establish totalizing systems or discourse. On the other hand, resistance practice can only count with deviations, cunning, and resistance to economic order, and they do not have an own proper, but also consumers in this case can only operate through resources made available by the dominant forces, and consumers can also operate through the construction of space, and space in this case is the place practice. Dominant strategies can only be understood by the perspective of utilitarianism, but resistance practice cannot be understood by utilitarianism, and we need to use the perspective of anti-utilitarianism. As main methodological procedures, we use a multi-sided ethnography, and we connected some of the main perspective within this strategy as systematic observation, field notes, relational interviews, and based on action theory, we operated through market oriented ethnography. From September 2019 to March 2020, we conducted field research in socio-economic initiatives as couchsurfing, permaculture, and cooperativism, and we carried out 12 interviews, recording 16 hours of audio and 170 single-spaced pages of transcripts and field notes. As main results, we highlight the difference of strategies and tactics and how they operate in the field and the empirical realm. So strategies operate as Deserto proposed by the construction of a place, a theological reference system, homogeneous orientations, and the maintenance of social cohesion in order to establish the figure of homo economicus, that there is the figure through which consumers can operate and reflect the behavior of consumers and the market. On the other hand, tactics operates through the construction of a space. There is a practice place where there is no instrumental behavior, and there are heterogeneous orientations, and consumers create diversified alternatives in order to reject the figure of homo economicus. And altogether, those aspects can also construct a trust-based system. So, some bullet points here. There are different ways to operate scarcity and economic exchange. Besides traditional market relations and resistance tactics are the key aspects in order to operate scarcity and economic exchange. They cannot be characterized as casual disturbance with which the social order must deal, but as spontaneous deviations from the attempts to maintain such an order. So resistance tactics are established by subverting the market logic, and in one of the three aspects, the immanence of capitalizable practice, the sovereignty of utilitarian rationality, or the need for formal contract. So when you put together in the same line the main economic models studied in this research, we can highlight some important aspects. Cooperativism is closer to a high economic logic, and for its members, it's not necessary to leave the market to exercise opposition against its structures of domination, because they understand that based on specific principles as sustainability, empowerment of political minorities, and socioeconomic inclusion, they can transcend the main tenets of market. In the case of couchsurfing, their communities are based on spontaneity, reciprocity, and trust, and they also can subvert some specific aspects present in market, as through the denial of profit, the defense of reciprocity, and social inclusion. As final considerations, we highlight that resistance tactics are always present in contexts marked by economic conditions. So we expand Deserto's theory, Deserto's propositions, and bring as theoretical contribution that practice that transcend the power of the markets can be developed by not only in the daily life of the common people, but it can be found in the most diverse initiatives, including market models.